Yes, I want some more.
Please.
We have our other two teams. 4 joined us here for the Onward Invitational. We've seen what 2 of them could bring. It is time for Mob Squad and the European representatives of Beginners. 3 North American teams, the European team. Beginners look to make their charge on this thing, and we just saw Globochem make their way to our winners bracket final. They have won, Globochem, 3 out of 4 of the seasons, making up to this point.
Yes.
The one they didn't win, they lost to Beginners. So this is exciting to see what they can bring against Mob Squad.
To say the very least, I think for us, when we saw the previous game, it was a bit lopsided, a little bit more favorable towards one team, whereas here, I think we're seeing a bit more of a kind of scrap, a bit of a brawl, both teams being very viable here to be able to create real competitive environments.
Beginners are Peasley, Sinkus, Smoyles, Dr. Killinger, Kisa, and Woods 43. And let's meet them in person.
Our team has a very unique playstyle. We can withstand the pressure, the very aggressive pressure of many other teams, especially the American teams. I think the American teams have this tendency to be very aggressive, also on bulk rounds, defense rounds, but I think we deal with that very well.
All the teams involved in the event are good, strong teams with good players who've got a lot of hours in game. So I genuinely believe any team's got a shot. We were beaten recently by Mob Squad. I'd like to beat them.
This will be my first LAN at Onward. I don't think I'm going to feel much pressure, to be honest. We've had a lot of practice and we know what we're doing.
To win the tournament would feel awesome, it really would. And we've put a lot of hours into practicing. It would be great to justify the time we've put into it.
Beginners here on our stage in Leicester, not afraid of anybody, not afraid of any North American challenger that they can get.
We'll see about that.
Mighty confident out of them. Mighty confident out of them. This Mob Squad team is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah.
Plots, Arsenic, Squeakren, Arsemper, Poopachu, and Nolamite. Players you know well from the community scene. These guys have stood up many times, put in good fights many times.
Yeah, Arsenic, probably considered one of the best players in the league. He is a devastating long shot, and one of the very few people in this game that does use ACOG's 4x, 12x scopes. It gives him a huge advantage in long-range maps, and I'm surprised that Downfall, which is a very long-range map, wasn't an instant ban against these guys.
Yeah, that could be an error. That could be a real mistake. If you let a team get their kind of more personality pick beside them, especially if it goes down to a decider, for example, you're walking into that going, did we make a mistake here?
Yeah, they'll be mulling that over right now. The game will be shortly upon us, but here's Mob Squad before things got underway.
The reason why I started playing VR esports opposed to traditional esports is because I really found the technology to be something that brought my love for video gaming back to myself.
Probably because I see VR as the future of gaming. I would love the chance to be a part of that.
I practice with my teammates almost daily, I would say.
We focus on communication a lot and learning how not to play as individuals really, but how to play as a team, supporting each other's moves.
I would say that the axe to grind that we have would definitely be with Globochem. We went up against them in the finals for the league championship recently, and it went to the 5th match. We lost 3-2, but I have to say that I didn't have the opportunity to play in that because I was out of town for that, so I'm looking to get some revenge.
Well, we're not worried, but we are cautious. We know we're up against some very good players, some very good teams, but we're confident we'll do well. I think all the teams are very excited to see how we compete against each other when all computers are the same, all the technology is the same, we're on a local area network, we're all using Oculus.
I would always say that whenever you're performing on the stage, it adds some pressure to it, but I guess the best of us always rise to the occasion, don't we? To win the tournament, that would just be a dream come true, as well as to be able to be the ambassadors of this new genre of esports and bring home a championship would just be the greatest.
Welcome to the Onward Invitational Mob Squad. You saw Arsemper there in that video basically saying, you know, we're not worried about LAN, we're not worried about ping, we're not worried about random number, we're just here to do our job.
No, I like that, and you can tell that they are eyeing up the big opponent. Obviously, Globochem in the back of their minds, but they don't get to face them just yet. You've got to get through every opponent, and Beginners certainly aren't living up to that name they've given themselves. I mean, these guys, I remember going out for the break in between that first game, and they were watching over footage. They're already doing, you know, mid-game research, looking into how they approach it. These guys are the hard workers. If you want that team, the thinking man's team, you look at beginners. They put in that graft.
And they've beaten Globachem, so they would love to face them in our next game and get their spot in the final.
Absolutely.
Mob Squad, on the other hand, would love to face Globachem and get one over them, having lost to them. So there's both of these teams are like, come here.
You're starting to see those community rivalries really spark up here. A lot of teams want blood. They want to beat these guys, and they've all played against each other already in the semis and finals, and so they want a rematch now. Yeah, these were the top 2 teams of each of the groups of Season 4, and basically it's a big rematch at the end of Season 4, which is a nice thing to have so soon as well. You mentioned maps earlier on. You mentioned Downfall in particular. That's going to be our decider should we get there. Quarantine was banned out by Mob Squad. Beginners banned out Bazaar. We will be starting on Suburbia, as we did our first game just now. Suburbia is our first map, and Cargo was beginner's pick. Everybody starting on Volk. Yeah, the Volk advantage coming in hand there. It's definitely something that players want, and you will even see sometimes teams opting to choose Volk instead of picking a map. They would rather have defense on any map than be aware of what map they're going into.
Do you think Suburbia, Cargo, and Downfall, if we get there, is favoring either side in particular?
I can't believe we have Cargo.
Yeah, that's... we were watching this during the practice games. I'm thinking, this is real close range. This is very much up in your face. It's a very close quarters environment. And you said this isn't often seen as one of the maps they'll go to.
I don't think... You know what? It has never been played in competitive league because it is a new map for this patch.
It's risky to go in on.
Yeah.
So if you pick it, as beginners have done, you have something ready.
But we've already seen these guys like putting in work, right? They'll research. They'll put in the hours. To, we heard earlier from other people that they've been looking into maps. They've been putting in their hours. They've been trying to find new ways to approach things. This could be their kind of card up the sleeve pick.
And I would say beginners probably have some Cargo strats planned because Cargo is actually a reformatted map from about a year ago. So these guys are all very experienced players. They've been playing for 2 years. They used to play that old map, and they had good strategies on it. And so now it's finally their chance to break it out on Cargo again. And this time the map's in daytime. It used to be dark. So some things are a little bit different.
Yeah, so that's an interesting change, isn't it? That the map is there, maybe being reworked a little bit in places, but the lighting is different.
Yeah, it plays a huge factor into things, especially if you are Volk, because you can find dark corners, dark alleyways to hide into, and it plays into your dark uniform, makes it hard to spot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, teammates, for every time I killed someone. Where is he like a small pixel? I'm like, all right, sorry. But no, I think I'd like this to go all 3 for me. I want to see all 3 maps here. I think that the third map, it feels like a polar opposite. You kind of left that in the map pool. You better be ready to let Mob Squad kind of get their pick there. That's something they'll be eyeing up. I mean, you were saying, surely that's an instant ban. Surely that's a straightaway thing you take away from that specialist team.
I can't believe that they would let the one really touted long-range map go to a team like Mob Squad. They are a dominating team at long range, and I don't know if it comes down to that, it's going to be something. But I understand the short range picks here.
Well, so beginners banned out Bazaar as their first ban instead of Downfall.
They've got to have a plan in mind. You don't walk into this blind. That's not something. I mean, for me, the best thing is that you were talking about Arsenic earlier. I was asking him questions. Why don't we see sniper rifles? Is this a thing that could happen? He's like, wait till you see Arsenic. There's a possibility this guy might run it. So that could be so cool to see if he's a real specialist player. He's one of those that will go to it and maybe run that. If that happens, that's why I want the third map. I want to see that in action.
Downfall being the decider, though, it's clearly either they've got something amazing planned, or they felt they need to ban out Bazaar instead, and their other ban was Subway.
Yeah, maybe
they had 2 chances to stop Downfall being there.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe there's some scouting work they've done. They've ascertained that Bazaar is a bigger threat against this team. They need close range stuff. They need to cut off any long range angles. You have Suburbia and Cargo easily the 2 tightest maps in this game. And I think that was definitely intentional. They wanted to get those close range maps. Suburbia is actually a really common competitive map.
Yeah.
People really like to pick that. It's kind of grown into a favorite for any team to get into, and I think that's kind of anyone's game. That's definitely going to be, I don't know who's going to take that series away.
I'm glad we've got it as the first map again, because it's a really direct comparison. We'll have seen both teams start on Suburbia.
Exactly.
All 4 teams, I beg your pardon, start on Suburbia.
Yeah,
so that's nice to see, okay, who's here, who's dealing with this thing.
I also think it sets the tone. Bear in mind, the other team, of course, they got the other two teams got the games out of the way. They started on Suburbia. Seems like a consistent one that they like to go to, a comfort pick to a degree for most teams. It's good to kind of get those initial jitters out of the way on a map that you feel considerably comfortable on. You don't want to take the risky choices straight away. If you're looking at vetoes throughout any esport, you want to kind of start on your comfort pick. As much as you do want to pick into your specialist maps or maybe a counter pick, sometimes that's too risky, especially for the moment you first step on that stage. We saw a couple of players making some questionable choices, maybe nerves coming into play even in the first game. So I feel that this is a good one for people to get those kind of nerves out of the way, settle in, and then you've got the other two maps off the back. Yeah,
you have a very high-octane map to jump right into, and you can choose, with this map, you can choose to go very fast or take your sweet time and go crouched and make sure you're peeking through the bushes and even get an early pick, anything like that.
But if you're Mob Squad, why haven't you picked Downfall as the first map? That's your map.
I don't know.
You could be banned out. It wasn't banned out in the first round. It could have been banned out in the second round of bans. Why didn't you put it in, get it in, run into the second map with a 1-0 lead?
I don't know. This is something you have to ask players, right? It's like, as much as you can cast games, watch games, you're not in their minds. We heard these comms, how these teams operate and how much work they put in. They've probably come into this going, if this is our map, maybe people know it now. Maybe we can't just depend on this the whole time. Maybe we have something better to go to that the other team don't play as well. But again, considering it's Suburbia, everyone kind of plays. So it kind of plays into that, I guess it's mind games at this point. These teams know each other better than we could ever do. Yeah. Unless you're on that team playing in those games every single day, every single week, you're not going to know the exact veto process and where they sit on these sort of, veto, I guess, approaches. So I think that we'll find out pretty soon why it's gone down this way.
Yeah, and we have VODs of every single game played. Yeah. And so, I know for a fact both these teams went back, looked at the VODs, see what they could see what they could decipher from it. And I think you're onto something there, that maybe they deciphered beginners are stronger than them on Downfall. So they went for some alternate bans, alternate picks, something maybe they have some strategies up their sleeve. They are a relatively new team to this league. So they actually have an advantage over beginners in terms of that beginners don't have a lot of footage. They don't have a lot of recordings of their strategies.
True. I always worry about a team coming into a pick and ban and not playing to their strengths. That's my take on it generally. It doesn't always work, I know.
It's the theory, right?
It's like, if you're already worried about what your opponents are going to do and trying to hold them back,
do you hinder
you're just
yourself?
On defense, aren't you, for the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's a theory.
The bulk advantage.
It's a veto theory that I know a lot of people will kind of consider. And are we playing back with this thing?
I am giving this back to Nightfire because he's so much more capable of holding it than I am.
He makes it look a little bit more comfortable when I'm messing around with it.
Yeah, this is a labor of love and something that's been developed over a long period of time.
Yeah.
You don't get to this sort of level of quality with magnetic detaching.
So refined.
The controllers being nice and secured inside this cup. It's not going to break on you. The PVC pipe's nicely, it's nice, or not the PVC. That's 3D printed nicely, and it helps with your aim so much. I don't know how guys don't aim. I don't know how they don't use it. I can't.
I guess, some people like that flexibility of movement, the freedom of movement.
Yeah.
This is going to help you stabilize your aim.
Also
sometimes you just want to, fire a gun as quickly as you can.
Tell me
so
that
it has the
cool.
VR Master League on it as well. It's custom. The winning team will all get one each.
One might go missing.
The winning team might get 4 out of 5 of these.
I don't know where I'm going to hide it.
2 out of 5 of these will make their way to the winning. They might get a picture of it at some point, and we might let them hold ours. But it is a clever bit of work. What I really like about it is not just the magnetic attachments, which, as you were pointing out earlier on, Nightfire, you need to have because you can't look down at this thing for real. I love the legs. I love the mount on it, which is going to show at some point you're going to hit the dirt with one of these.
Yeah, this is actually, I think, new and specific just for this mount, just for the winners. This tripod, I don't think is a common thing that comes with it, and I am really jealous. I really want one of these tripods. Boren, please.
You're asking Lauren.
Boren, he's the great.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm only good for stealing one. All right,
yeah, he wants to split it with you.
All right,
I'll have the controllers.
Yeah,
you can
take
have
one
magnetic. Between us, we'll just take. We need an Allen key quickly, and we'll have it in pieces. Can we take it apart, clean it, and reassemble it? Is what you do with a real gun.
I wouldn't trust me to do that.
No, from experience.
I mean, cleaning in general, like, let's be honest.
Weapon or otherwise?
Yeah. No, again, for me, I think playing the game without this sort of support, when I tried it a couple of days ago, it's just lining up things quickly. I mean, the fact that it instantly puts you in a position where you're ready to fire, where you can, you don't have to worry as much as literally lining your hands up to the perfect degree. Because you were saying when we were commentating, if you're not lining up properly, especially like a 4 or any sort of scope above that, it's so tricky.
It's near impossible because of the way that parallax works with scopes. You have to be right behind your scope. You don't have the option of shifting a little bit to the left or right. And that's something you never experience in an FPS that's 2D. You're not going to have shifting left or right out of a scope. You're always going to be right down the center. So it's definitely a high skill gap, which is why you don't see it very often.
These magnetic attachments mean that the controllers can clip on easily, but explain to people who might not be familiar why you ever want to take them off.
You have a kit on your chest. And to access,
and they're wearing these on a sling, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. So this usually you have a sling come in here, it goes around your shoulder. You get into high action, you get shot, you need a nade out. You can pop these out, and that's why you're allowed to get them off of the mount, because you need to drop your sling to your chest.
That's literally just going to fall down and crash against their body.
Yeah, you grab a grenade off your chest, you pull the pin with one controller, and then you have to throw that.
And that's something I don't think people necessarily realize about Onward. You are not just clicking a button to throw a nade. You've got to find it, pull the pin, and you've got to make the throw.
There's no button action.
Yeah,
I'm not going to point at someone.
Button,
The resurrection itself, you have to grab a needle off your chest, push down a button like you're pushing a syringe, and then pull the trigger like you're syringing medication into your teammates.
It's kind of unnerving a little bit as well. You're like, do I trust
Here,
myself?
have some steroids.
Again, it's just
You're unnerved to help a teammate.
I don't know what this says about me. I don't know. I can't clean it.
So far, you've been team killing. You can't clean, and syringes just like, ooh.
You freak me out, all right?
All right.
It's very immersive, okay? It's very immersive.
It is. No, it truly is, and that's the strength of VR. And I mean, this is a game that looks good when you're playing it, but immersion, for me, in VR is getting a long way quickly as well, but for me, immersion has always been more important. It works super well on me. I don't care even really what sort of range of graphics are from like 2 years ago when we first started playing with modern day VR. It's always just been, I'm in here now. It's true of this.
It's one of the things the community really likes about this game over other FPSs that are VR because it's so realistic. Everything is really tried to mimic to get you into the most immersed state you can and really feel like you're on a battlefield, bullets flying over your head. I need to get down or I'm going to get shot. You don't have the option of standing up, and the game's very fun. I think we've probably sold a couple of casters on some headsets since they've come in and tried it out.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Sorry, CSGO. I mean,
what was that again? Some other game with blue and orange 5v5?
No, it's literally what Pan said in the pre-interview, right? When he was talking, in the VT, he was discussing it, and he said that once you've played this, going back to your traditional shooters, it doesn't feel the same.
No.
I mean, I love,
and this is
but you're detached, and even as a player coming into this, I can imagine the pressure is so much more. You can calm yourself a little bit when you can just literally step away, take your headset off, and calm down when you're at a normal PC, right? You can take a step back, and it's like, well, that's it. Here, you are literally in the game. It's a very, very intense feeling that I think these players, especially for the first game on the stage, will be feeling a bit of that. I think you definitely feel a little bit more pressure. And to me, I think the thing that stood out to me was the lack of UI in-game, the lack of HUD in-game, because we're so used to games giving you everything, right? They give you your mini-map with all your teammates. You get communication that no one else can hear. I mean, you get it all given to you on a plate. Here, it's not. You make choices. Do I communicate with my team right now? Is that the right thing to do, or will that give away the game?
Because you can be heard. You can literally be heard in real world, in real game.
And then there's further nuance to that. I mean, we were talking about this before, and it was when we were doing the practices yesterday, and I'd said it when we were casting, but people have just tuned in. You can fake noise. You can fake the death sound. You're discussing when nades come through.
I love this.
There are people...
Have you got a fake death? Give me your fake death sound.
Oh, gosh.
Don't
show us how it's done. Because if you get naded, then if you get shot, then there's a death sound, but you can pretend that you've died if you fake the game's death sound.
Yes, absolutely. We saw it in a scrimmage, actually, and there are people amongst the community that are known for their faked death sounds, actually. So it kind of plays against some of these players, because it's like, I don't know if that guy's actually dead over there. He fakes things a lot. You have to be it's just another thing you got to pay attention to in this game. Another thing you have to keep your head on a swivel for. Be listening to any audio cue. You have guys that crank that audio up so they can hear any footstep anywhere. They're not afraid of the guns blowing out their ears. They want to know where enemies are.
And you know what that's like, Lauren, from CS and from other games you've worked on, how game sound is really important. It's different here because you've got that extra thing of we can actually hear you like comms.
Yeah.
I don't think I've come across that in anything else.
No, and I think it's amazing. I love all the small nuances people have come up with, like the fake death sounds, like the clicking on towards the radios, like these small ways that they're already finding these further depths, and that gives this game such a skill level. I think when you first start playing it, that doesn't even cross your mind. It's not even something you consider, and then you watch these players play and you think, that's just normal to them now. And you think how far and how deep they can go on these new ways to approach the game. It's just incredible to watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we're getting such fantastic esports coverage on this game. It's going to fuel some incredible competition in the community.
Beginners and Mob Squad are down on our stage pretty much already now. We just had a few issues getting everything properly set up and how they want it to have. Beginners there with that logo as well. I've got to point that out. The difference is in the logo of these two teams. Mob Squad have two massive rifles and Beginners are going square at you. Right, here we go then. Do you want to make a quick prediction? I'm not going to force you to. My prediction is this. I want 3 maps. I think we might get them.
I think we're going to get 3 maps too, and I think Mob Squad is going to take Downfall.
I think Beginners, you've got to hope they come in with a plan. I've got to support EU, right? So
there you go. I think they do have a plan. I think this is a confident pick. Let's go to it. Bowie is ready. Radar is ready. Let's go to them with Beginners and Mod Squad and their first match of the weekend.
Thank you very much indeed, Matt, Pansy, and Nightfire there. My name is Bowie. I'm joined, of course, by Radar on the caster desk. And we will be taking you through this next series between the Beginners and the Mob Squad. So, obviously, they were talking about it on the analyst desk. And I think it's kind of like good for us to kind of go over it a little bit. We do have these very close-range maps to start off our first two games. Obviously, I think this is maybe due to the fact that Arsenic is such an oppressive long-range player to kind of maybe lock him down a little bit.
You know what? You're not wrong. But the danger of close maps is it can go either way. There's less tactics involved that you can guarantee on.
So yeah, just quickly, we're going to get our 15 seconds of wait time in, and it's underway for our first game.
And we have an issue. It looks like they're going to have to abandon the first round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, full start. We'll
back to the starting blocks. Let's try that again.
So, how do you think that first round went then? That was pretty good. It was a 5-0.
I think,
clean. 5-second victory. Woo!
Beginners,
Absolutely terrifying play from them.
You just don't see plays like that very often.
No, absolutely not.
Really.
Absolutely not.
Next level. Next level.
Well, that's always how it goes every now and then, but
hey, we weren't quite ready for the map to start then, so you know what? It's good that they I feel like they knew we were still talking, so they were, let's give them a bit more time.
Thanks very much, guys, on the floor there. They're just going to make sure they can sort everything out.
Absolutely.
You can see Sinkus there just getting himself psyched up.
What you can't see, you can't see Sinkus is actually jumping up and down, keeping himself warmed up. I mean, again, this is very physical.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing to talk about definitely, and that is the muscle memory side of things. We've got our last 10 seconds to count down of this moment. We've got Smoils, Killinger, Kensai, Peasley, and Sinkus over here on the side of the Beginners.
Round one.
So you have on the side of Volk here, Beginners to start it off. Mob Squad playing Marsok, and they will be trying to get that uplink.
Now, see, this defense is it's by the tank. You can see the uplink is next to the tank, and it can be challenging to defend, but it's not one of the harder ones. It's definitely more in Mob Squad's line of sight to try and take this from them, because it's not going to be easy for them to penetrate Beginner's defense. Beginner's defense always very solid.
Yeah, I mean, you can see in terms of where Mob Squad currently are, they've really paced out to the sides. You've got players on both ends of the map. No, not really focusing on that central point. Beginners immediately getting into that central house as well, and locking down that main point. And then you've got obviously the player back by the tank, and you've got that the two on the flank here.
Yeah.
So just seeing Sinkus maybe looking for
what a great grenade. Out of nowhere, grenade takes out Sinkus.
He's down on the floor, yes, you can see, but he's not down completely. He does have that, plus he can be revived if a syringe is nearby.
Interesting, grenades can never kill a person straight out. They have to have had taken damage to die straight out from a grenade. So almost always resible. But that just goes to show the Beginners, this shows the research that Mob Squad have done, because they knew that Beginners would be sitting there. That's why they threw a grenade there, hoping that they would catch one out, and this is exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it, throughout the day as well, how Beginners do like to play that slower start, and you can see that definitely from them. They get into their positions and they wait.
Absolutely. Look at this. Look Look! You can guys seeing this guy on his back. We've got Syncas on his back, looking around that corner, and this is the perfect example of why VR is so amazing. I mean, look at that. He's just on his back. It's a very physicality thing, and he's covering that corner. In real life, he's on his back.
Yeah,
you don't see that. I think
it's one of those things. We were talking about the genre of this esport, and it's almost like bringing the sport into the esport side of things, isn't it?
Actually, and another return grenade.
Wow, yeah, Pupachu being knocked down there by a return grenade. So you can see your teammates, obviously, Nolomite coming in here to quickly get that heal up. So Pupachu, obviously going to be, and Syncas, who are both down, who have downed once, won't have another chance at that.
And then, again, this is where beginners assumed someone would be behind them. They didn't know. They just threw an exploratory grenade over there, and it paid off. They don't even... The weird thing is they might not even know they got someone with that.
Kensai there in the central house. Squiguken there, maybe making his way towards them. And Arsenic on both sides of this fence, trying to cover as much of this central house as possible.
Yeah, two beginners players on prone down, and it gives you, obviously you're harder to see, but it gives you less mobility. In real life, it gives you, when you're on your stomach or on your back, it gives you a lot less mobility, but obviously in the game it makes it harder for you to be seen.
Yeah. Ooh, wow.
A pick off there, Mob Squad going down.
Beginners getting a nice KO and have that early lead. I say early, 3 minutes into this game almost, and the first KO going down there.
But look, the Mob Squad are still being really exploratory with their attack. They don't know where beginners are, and they're not willing to push in hard. They're just hanging back, and we can see here this is not an unexpected play.
Squiguken though, having he has kind of infiltrated this central house, and if he's just trying to find that way up.
Now it's not unusual in this center map, in the central building, that someone charges down the stairs and does a sweep. Like they don't slowly go down; they charge down and try and catch someone off guard.
Yeah. Because they know that people are going to be coming in. Oh, maybe pulling out the tablet to try and maybe make some noise and see if he can get a reaction from his opponents clinging close to the wall. That's
a very good point. Then whenever you pull out your tablet, it makes a noise. So anyone in that building would have heard the click of the tablet coming out. So very interestingly now, the central defender knows that Squiguken, or someone knows there's a Marsoc person in the building.
Yeah.
And they'll be communicating that.
And it's almost you can see Syncas has now changed his position. He's facing back into the house. If Squiguken comes out, he will have the force of Syncas waiting for him.
This is interesting. It's a real slow play from Mob Squad. I would have assumed a more aggressive stance. I mean, we've got 2 minutes left on the clock, and nothing's happening right now. We've got Mob Squad still holding the line, waiting for beginners to make a mistake. Beginners don't make mistakes like this, though. They don't. They don't have
the name of the professionals. Obviously, beginners that make mistakes. Will Syncas see Squiguken hit?
He gets taken out by someone outside. He doesn't even get up the stairs. Kensai not having to do anything work.
Yeah.
Peasley, I think, grabbing that kill through the window. Mob Squad down to 3 members. Beginners still showing absolutely strong defense.
There, just having to stand. Oh no, different player than we had in the can there.
So we've got 2 Mob Squad members near the Humvee on the west. Again, you can't shoot through the sandbag, so that's a strong defensive position by killing it, but he could be taken out by a grenade. That's not an unusual position for a defender to be in.
Nolomite coming down. Will Killinger see him? Nolomite needs to look. Oh, gets caught out there by Smoils. But around the back, Pupachu
but Smoils going to get caught out in the back.
He gets a double KO there. Wonderful play there from Pupachu. He is alone. He can get 1 res down, but it's 1 versus 3 at this current point in time. They know where Pupachu is. He does get another KO or a down.
Go Pupachu.
He gets the down.
2 kills and a down. 1 versus 2. He could get that res, but that res is nowhere near him. He's not going to be getting that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot to go up against. But knowing where he got that first KO, he can maybe try and punish someone trying to save the teammate who has been downed.
Yes.
Pupachu moving his position around behind this house as Kensal gets towards that tank.
Yeah, Kensai knows that, I mean, this is the importance of the uplink. He knows that if they get an uplink, it's a massive, massive deal. So he's not, he risked running across the open to get there because it's that important.
Wow, Pupachu getting another one.
Wow,
it's now even.
Pupachu.
That was incredible. 1 KO each with the bleed out on the other 2 players.
Yeah. Kensai on the objective though. He'll die before he lets that objective go, and you need to do that. It's risky, but you can't risk that. You can't let those 2 points go.
5 seconds left now, and Pupachu has to make some kind of push. Otherwise, he's taking it. going to be over.
And it's over!
There it is.
Oh, that's a... You know what? Mob Squad might not be called beginners, but that was a rookie mistake by Pupichu. He didn't keep track of the time, and that's all top-level teams should usually always know when they're down to that last minute.
I think definitely the initial pace of that game was just slow enough that it maybe just kind of got inside their heads of Mob Squad. They just felt like they were, because there was so much action towards the end, they felt like progress was being made, and just have to pull out that tablet, see that timer, and then make the move.
It's that pressure as well. When you're the last guy left, and you saw he made some amazing kills. You get inside your own head. You don't realize you're losing track. You're focusing on staying alive. You don't look at the time necessarily, and that's where it fell apart. It's the worst thing as an attacker when you lose for running out of time, because you wasted time. That's the only way you can put it. You wasted time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When it comes to winning and losing, if you're on the defensive side, all you have to do is run out the clock or get the elimination. On the aggressive side, running out the clock is not what you want to do. No. Normally, when it comes down to timeouts in certain games or certain competitive stuff out there, there is a kind of like a victory given based on the performance in the game thus far, but when the time runs out, you lose if you're on the offensive. Yeah.
It was really quite fun to look over. You obviously can't see this, viewers, but I look to my left and I can see all of the players on the mats, and it was interesting looking over and seeing beginners, and at one point 3 of them were lying down. You just look over and there's just 3 guys lay on the floor. Yeah. You don't see that in Counter-Strike.
Really, definitely, really pushing into that, getting involved. There we go. You can see Sinkus just psyching himself up there. I do like how, I must note, all of the beginners, obviously being European, not used to warmer climes, with full trousers on.
But look, we've got a few trousers on Mob Squad as well.
Oh, really?
Interesting to point out, the last game was all shorts, all the time.
Globochem and SMC, definitely throwing out. These summery vibes with their shorts.
Now, I'll say this for Mob Squad and beginners, this is going to be an intense matchup. I guess we're having some technical difficulties, which I haven't gone into the next round yet, but these are 2 very, very, very tightly classed teams. Them and Globochem, they're all on the same level. Yeah. I hate to speak ill of SMC, but they're not quite on the same reliable level as these teams.
Yeah, I think maybe, especially kind of maybe having seen a little bit more of at least kind of coming onto the scene. I think it was beginners who are newer, but they had a great year or a great season.
Oh, sorry, other way around.
Other way around. Mob Squad being a bit new about having that great season so far.
All right, we're into map 2. Sorry, round 2. Map 1.
Round 2, map 1. Obviously, the same objective with their beginners do know that they're after the tank at this point. Obviously, you'd figure it out very easy either way, but we'll see how Mob Squad can, forge their loadout with that information in hand.
Interestingly, when they get the iPad out, it doesn't actually show them, they don't see the entire map, they see a small area of the map, but they know the objective is in that direction. There's a few objectives in that direction, so it can be easy to confuse for at the back of the building or in the middle of the building, blah, blah, blah. But we can see Mob Squad taking a very similar defensive stance to what beginners did.
And and you can talk, and we saw as well at this point in time, or almost a minute in,
we've got technical difficulties, I think. We've got a player holding his hand up. I don't know what that means, because we are almost a minute in.
At this point, you can see the beginners having a very, very widespread early game. Kind of, we saw at this point in time, about a minute into the game, Mob Squad on the attacking side were a lot further down. They'd already pushed back, or pushed forward as much as they could into that kind of very tight neutral in that central part of the map. But at this point, beginners just, we've heard about them. We heard about them, from Globochem as well, that they will just hang back for 4 minutes and then, they're set to strike and then in they go.
This is beginners play to a T. They will be incredibly slow, incredibly low. They will look for Mob Squad to make any mistake. What's really interesting, you peek, okay? In real life, you peek around the corner. You don't have a lean button. You can be on the floor. You peek around the corner, but any good team will be looking for that. They'll be looking for a double peek. If you see someone, you'll be zeroed in on that position for them to lean out again, because you expect that they might lean out again. So beginners will be looking for Mob Squad to do that, and they will pick off anyone who makes that mistake.
Kind of likening it to another style of game or play, it's definitely like a heavy punish game approach. Getting into a very consistent neutral and just waiting for their opportunity to punish an opponent for an option they take.
Okay, looks like the technical difficulties were sorted, and we've got 5 beginners back in the map.
Okay.
And look at that spread. Look at that spread from beginners. A complete line. They're not getting flanked. There's no... If a player goes down, they're going to be wary of a flank coming, but look at that. They've got a line across the map. They are not getting... there's nobody coming around those flanks.
Really interesting to see that as well. You've got this kind of semi defense there. You've got obviously one really far back covering the central house into the sides. You can see our player at the very bottom, keeping an eye on that far left-hand side of the map as well, as Peasley, as we can see him here.
You can fire through the hedges, so you can see a lot of people closing up to the hedges because you can see through the hedges just about. It's a very, very obscured view. You can just about see through the leaves.
Peasley throwing out a grenade to get some attention. Killinger with a little bit of covering fire as well to kind of force something from Poopachu, who is staying in that house wisely. There is a down though, but one of the beginners has gone down.
Yep. 2 grenades, 2 separate grenades, 2 down now.
That was very good play there.
You know what that was killing? Did some suppressing fire from there, and they immediately grenaded that area.
Yeah,
that just shows the skill level of Mob Squad there. They heard the shots, they had just obliterated the area with grenades.
Yeah, maybe not the best idea there from Killinger to go for the suppressive fire there.
Again, though, that second grenade wasn't meant to take down a second member. They threw that second grenade in hoping to double grenade the same person and take him out of the map. So all they succeeded in doing was downing 2 people and not killing either of them. Now both of them are up. So it worked for Mob Squad to an extent, but that second grenade didn't land where it should have. It should have landed in the same place as the first one and finished off killing it.
So you can see that the beginners have moved back a little bit, just kind of secure their position, but they're going to be looking for that push forward soon. They've got 2 minutes left on the map. They don't want to go down the same way as Mob Squad did in round 1. No downs, no complete KOs just yet. Beginners going to hopefully start turning the screws in this second round. Beginners love to leave it to the last minute, though. This is how beginners play. They're putting on pressure now. They're reminding Mob Squad, we're here, we're coming for you. And you're going to see it in about 48 seconds. You're going to see beginners push up hard and heavy. They're getting into position now. They're getting into that push position. Yeah, you can see they're getting inside this central house. They know that a lot of their opponents are there, so they grenade right to the... Ooh.
It's a smoke grenade. He's just trying to confuse the situation, limit our Semper's view. It's done exactly that.
Semper seems like he's actually outside the the house.
He's outside the front. He gives him good... He's got a lot of cover. It's hard to see, but he's got a lot of cover for either side. He's got chairs either side of him, which makes him A, harder to hit, B, harder to see.
Oh,
a grenade.
Wow, two beginners down.
3 beginners down. 2 dead, one injured. Syncast Resible, but in a really open position. Is it Syncast's Resible? No, it isn't.
Just grabs some items from his teammate there and tries to move on. Looks like Mob Squad is trying to get laying down some fire.
You see Smiles here working a flank, but he's falling back. Our Semper upstairs.
1 KO now for beginners as Arsemper comes through.
Oh, it's so close!
Kensai gets taken down by Arsemper.
Semper taking him down hard.
Very, very nice confirm of that KO.
So we're down to Smiles. Now Smiles is oh no, Smiles just killed off his teammate instead of getting the res. It's too late. He doesn't realize he's just killed his teammate was down and he finished him off. There's going to be some strong words after this match.
Yeah. So 1v4. Smiles has got to do something. Gets...
What? Why isn't he shooting? What's happening?
Oh, didn't go for it. Wasn't
his
sure.
gun didn't work. His LMG was either out of ammo or, I guess, jammed, which doesn't really happen. But he didn't see that. That's a mark of a good player. He didn't hesitate. He switched straight to his sidearm. Failed to get the kill.
Yeah.
But
maybe picked up the wrong mag and actually was out of ammo in that particular scenario.
Yeah, absolutely could have been.
So 1-1 between the two teams here.
Yep.
Beginners, having that very, very slow start when they went in for the crush, they actually kind of unfortunately lost a couple of members quite early on and couldn't quite recover at that point.
Well, beginners weren't in the position they wanted to be in. They wanted to be at that 1 minute ready to push, and they got dismantled as they got into that final push position. Mob Squad wary of the beginners' tactics.
Yeah.
We saw there as well, I mean, even if Smiles, who does very creative plays, by the way, even if he'd taken down that guy in the window, he had 20 seconds left to play with and an entire team you have to kill.
Of course, yeah. That would have to have been a Herculean effort to get anything out of that particular scenario for sure.
Yeah.
Not impossible, of course. But
no,
very unlikely.
Well, if there's going to be a team that can do it, it'll be anyone on beginners. They're all again another team with no weakness. No weak players.
Yeah. As you kind of hope when you kind of get to this particular position.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Got a lot of ways to go, obviously. It's only 2 rounds down of the first map, a lot of game left to play for, but a kind of interestingly tentative start to both maps there. We can see the slower pace coming out of beginners, even on a smaller map,
which is
such as Suburbia.
I didn't expect it from Mob Squad, not on this map. I expected much more aggressive play, and it goes to show the respect for beginners. They know beginners' defense is not something you rush at. It's something you slowly try and pick apart.
Yeah.
And also in that last map, we saw that Mob Squad didn't lose concentration, and they didn't lose the temperance. They held the defensive positions. Okay, we can see here. Wow, look at this defense from beginners.
All getting inside the central house. This is very intriguing.
Wow, I've never seen this before. This is a new play from them. I've never ever seen anyone do this tactic.
This is very intriguing because they know exactly where the point is. It's inside the house.
Yeah, but I can guarantee you Mob Squad are expecting 2 people, maybe 3 max, to be inside that building. There are no way in hell they're expecting the entire team to be up there. This is a fresh play, and it's crazy.
I think they're kind of banking on the idea that maybe one of them will get taken out, which will lure in even more.
And you're absolutely right.
To focus, and then they got the others just to take one down. And maybe if they're going for like 2-on-1 trades, and continually trying to trade KOs, it will definitely work out in the beginners' favor because they have more intel.
Yeah. And what you're going to see from Mob Squad is they're going to be looking for beginners. They're going to be looking for them. They're going to be looking through the fences. They're going to be looking through the windows, trying to spot where are you beginners. And they won't even after they research everywhere and look everywhere, they will not know there's 5 people up there. Upstairs as well. No one downstairs. All 5 upstairs on the objective. Crazy.
This is interesting to see maybe what the usage of a well-placed grenade will be able to do in this scenario. But,
2 grenades could wipe out that entire team.
If they're just kind of placed correctly, but they have to get that position. And I'm pretty sure if you're going for a play like this, beginners are going to be knowing exactly those angles where they can get caught out by grenades and won't let it happen.
And I can guarantee you they're not going to be seeing anything down there. They're all going to be quiet as mice, just worrying about the cats surrounding them. But, you know, it's going to work. A beginner's down.
One of the beginners is down. I'm not quite sure which one it was. But a great start.
A big flank from one of Mob Squad there. You can see he's on the other side of them. He's on the south side of the map, and he got one of the beginners players through the window.
Yeah, nice stuff there from Mob Squad.
So we see Squigoogan now has penetrated in below on the first floor. Ground floor.
I think what they've definitely done here as well is it does decrease the likelihood of them getting a comm uplink. Yeah. Just because, you know, all of the beginners are here.
Oh, you have to kill all of them to get that. And they're not expecting it. They're still not expecting. They're looking. Where's the rest of the beginners? They can't assume they're all up there still.
Maybe they're kind of cottoning on to the fact that this could be a potential.
Nolomite now looking. Nolomite's on the other side of the map, and they have to. By now, they're wondering where beginners are, and maybe they've figured out they're all upstairs.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at Squigoogan. He's prepped a grenade. He's ready to rush around that corner and chuck it up there. Oh, this is intense.
Very, very slow pace here again. Even if it is a bit more aggressive, you can see at the top the beginners still waiting in their positions.
And they are staying away from those maps. They're staying away from the windows. They've got suppression fire now. They can't see any beginners, but you can see Mob Squad is laying down suppression on the objective. Squigoogan going in here to throw the grenade up. This could be devastating. Grenade goes in. Smoil's down, but not out. He's the only one who gets taken. Squigoogan runs down. He's taken out.
1, 2, 3 jump from the Mob Squad immediately. What a turnaround. There was one down for the beginners, but that was a massive, massive 3-player KO from the beginners side.
They just don't expect it. What? No, his gun isn't working. What's happening?
This is great stuff now from Mob Squad.
Oh my.
1-on-1 now. Poopachu.
Wow, what happened?
Versus Simcast.
Again, the gun didn't fire. Oh, and Mob Squad take it.
Wow. Very, very nice there from Poopachu, just seeing the angle he needed and got that KO onto Simcast and taking it 2-1.
Wow, that was intense. That was so intense.
Everyone was waiting for that, you know, that neutral game, that kind of like that moment of silence just before the storm. Yeah. And it just barreled in.
Yeah, that's crazy. Two maps in a row now. We've seen one of beginners' players' gun not happen. I don't know whether they're not realizing they've emptied their clip, or maybe they've swapped to an empty clip, or maybe there's some kind of issue, but I can't see it. I don't know what's happening. The player literally ran out in front of him. He saw him. Couldn't do anything. Gun didn't do anything.
There we have it, though. It's 2-1 in favor of the Mob Squad at this current point in time. So they're going to be going on to the Volk side for this 4th map.
Yes, they will.
4th map? Crikey, that's a long game. 4th round of the first map. Apologies.
Yes, it only goes to 3 maps.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what I expected. If you said which is going to be the longest game today, I'd say anything with beginners in it.
Definitely seems that way at the start. We've got our first 15 seconds of, I guess, I don't know what to call it, prep?
Yeah, prep time.
Yeah.
Just for the both teams to say confirm where everyone's going.
So Mob Squad again, beginners know that the objective is in the house. That kind of information has been granted to both teams.
Interesting. There's line of sights on this map. As populated as this map is with cover, there's lots of line of sights where you can shoot down almost the entire map.
Yeah,
People are very careful to run in between those, and you can see the defensive team looking for a pick off. It doesn't happen because obviously they're against experts who know not to go down those lines of fire.
I definitely feel when you're looking at that, it's definitely the linearity of the flanks in particular. So I think they are quite a solid pressure point. When you're trying to kind of make some kind of play on either a position or the objective.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we haven't seen, but I would expect to see more from beginners, especially on attack.
Yeah.
Is suppression fire. You saw actually Smoils was carrying an LMG. Now that is purely for suppression. Yeah, obviously you can get kills with it, but it's there to put the enemy players under pressure, because when they get shot at, you might not be able to see view. The view gets lessened, it gets darkened around the corners, and again, it's more like real life. You're getting shot at, it puts pressure on you. You feel like you have to stay down. You're worried. You're hearing the bullets pounding all around you.
Yeah, we can see Nolomite here just kind of getting low, trying to get a view through this very large vehicle.
This APC. Right here, you can, as Nightfire rightly pointed out, you look for any nook and cranny. Try and get that shot in between the smallest of spaces.
Yeah.
But again, you're looking for a pixel to move. These.
Yeah, the ability to kind of see even the tiniest of changes and differences in your line of sight is an incredible skill that cannot be undermined.
Oh no, it's muscle memory as well. It's training and training and training. When I see that pixel move, I press the fire button.
Yeah.
At that pixel.
We've got two members of Mob Squad inside the central building, whilst beginners, you've got, again, a very, very strong line. One player kind of hanging just slightly back as we got a little buddy system going on there on the right-hand side.
I feel like beginners might be forgetting the lesson they got taught in the first attacking map. They've got two people exactly where they got taken down by grenades, and they're in exactly the same position. They could get taken down by grenades again.
Yeah, there seems to be enough space. Let's just jump in and see one of our players here. Syncast, just trying to, just checking on his tablet, looking around.
He's trying to see where his teammates are. They're just confirming, right, this is where this person is. You don't know which player it is, but it doesn't matter. They've played so much together. They know how everyone else thinks.
You guys are lucky at home getting to see, so are we as well, as casters. Oh wow, one player from Mob Squad going down to see this HUD and see all this information given to you. One player of Mob Squad taken out completely, 1 KO there.
And look where he died. This is what I'm talking about. You don't give beginners that opening. They're going to move in slowly, and they're waiting for one person to move just one foot out at the wrong place, and that's what happens. He gets taken down immediately.
Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. I said it earlier, turning the screws. You see one error, punish it. Another error, punish it, and just choke the opponent until you can take that victory.
Beginners are looking for it now as well. Having lost that last defense, they are on the back foot.
Yeah. Killinger just kind of laying down some fire across these lines through the bushes here.
That's really odd play by them, because last time they laid down suppression fire, they got blitzkrieged. No, sorry, that's not the right word. They got artillery fired.
Yeah, you can see Nolomite there, just kind of like hanging around, still behind this APC here, just trying to maybe catch some legs of some opponents. But Smoils again keeping low, maybe going to try and push around.
Smoils with the LMG for suppression again.
It's really interesting. Can he maybe find the thing he needs, knowing that the APC is on the other side as well? I think that's why Smalls is keeping this lower side, not as low as prone. It must be said.
Yeah. They've smoked. They've smoked that area now. You can see Nolomite has actually been smoked, so his visibility has been reduced massively.
Wow, Killinger there making some getting inside the house, throwing down some fire just to get a little bit aggressive. Throws a smoke grenade into the lower living room, I'm going to call it, of the house.
He's done it not so he can go up the stairs, but so he can go cross through past the windows without being called. Nobody saw him make that cross.
Very important, particular movement there. Nolomite standing up, it seems, maybe going to make his way away from the APC that he's currently covering.
Look at this. You've got 2 defenders on the objective, but 4 attackers underneath the objective ready to go in. 2 defenders down. They're pushing in with a real push now.
Oh, that was a 1-for-1, well, a 2-for-1 trade there. Mob Squad losing 2 members, one of their main defense, but they get another KO back onto Beginners. 3 KOs. It is 2 for 2 now.
Oh, Kensei not in time with it. He gets flanked and taken down. It's 1 versus 2 now.
Wow, Beginners are really going to be going up against it at this point in time.
Look at Peasley's position, though. He's on the other side of the map. He's in a good position to take out someone who goes in the window. Is he ready? He's going to see it.
No one there on the window doesn't see it.
Look at the way he's holding his gun.
There is a head popping outside of that window. If you can just see it on the right-hand side at the corner of that tank.
Look! Oh, he doesn't take the shot. There's another one.
This is scary for Peasley.
No, he's checking. He's got bullets.
Fires a shot as well. Oh, you see him. He took some shots towards that window.
43 seconds. Now, interestingly, again, with VR, did you see the way he was holding his gun? He was holding it sideways to make sure he got the shot.
Yeah.
You hold the gun. If he was holding it like the normal route to look down the angle, he wouldn't be able to fire over the tank effectively. So he's making sure he's holding it sideways so he can fire over the tank.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to say, he's making his way towards the house now. He's got to make some kind of thing happen with only 20 seconds on the clock.
You see him check his time then?
Oh, wow, he gets taken down.
It's a trade, but there's still a Mob Squad left.
Well, that means it's 3-1 going in favor of the Mob Squad. Really, really nice play so far.
Yeah, every single map so far has been down to the wire.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note as well that, normally a lot of these skirmishes are going down in trades. When we have this kind of immediate, just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, bounce, I guess. Everyone bounces into position and kind of goes on, makes a move, I guess.
There's a go code and everyone's rushing in.
It tends to be a lot of trades happening, and whilst they're getting KOs, it's eye for an eye almost, and they need to be kind of doing those on the front foot. So they're always in a positive position rather than kind of like, as we saw in there was a couple of trades and then, losing one, the luck quite not like landing on their side, and suddenly they're 2-1 down, and it just changes for the way that Peasley has to approach.
And now it's 3-1 down. Beginners really pressed up against it, and they're not playing how I would normally assume they'd play. Usually they're much slower with their approaches, putting themselves in a better position and then making that rush. They made the rush earlier. It could have gone so much better. At one point, it was 2 defenders left and 4 attackers still up.
Yeah.
And something went wrong.
Yeah, I think they had some nice calls, but maybe one of the members, I think especially Nolomite, who managed to make his way from the APC towards the house, I think was the massive factor in that for the victory from the Mob Squad. They did a very, very nice job of neutralizing the aggression coming out from Beginners in that moment.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Peasley, even though he had a great position, there's that millisecond you have to fire, right? So he's looking up in that window, he sees the head, but he doesn't want to give away his position. He doesn't want to give away he's there, so he doesn't take the shot. It could have been a very different game if he just pulled that trigger. I know it's easy enough to say, why didn't he kill that guy? But he had him lined up. He just wasn't confident enough that he would make the shot, so he didn't want to give away he was there.
I think, he took that one shot, maybe you'd hear it. It's some information, but as soon as you have a concerted effort to go for, a proper hit and really putting out, a lot of fire, it allows your opponents to, like, not only, know you're nearby, but pinpoint exactly the precise place where they are, and then they can lock you down.
They can lock down all the approaches from there, and especially, he looked at the time, and this is one of the weaknesses of Beginners. They leave everything to the last minute, which works well for them because they like to put themselves in a really aggressive position, and then they all have the go code. They all charge in. Sometimes, most of the time, it goes in their favor. But in this situation, you saw that he looked at his watch. He's got 20 seconds left. That's so much pressure on him to do something in those last 20 seconds.
Yeah, and you kind of want to be looking down and go, you know what, I've got like 45, maybe a minute, so you can take it a bit more, cautiously. But when you have that time running out, it may put such a pressure on you to be even more aggressive than you maybe are ready for.
Well, you've got no choice.
For.
Yeah, you've got no choice. You've got, like I said,
it forces your hand.
Absolutely, and what we saw in the first round with Mob Squad on the attack, they ran out of time.
Yeah,
and that is, like I said, as an aggressive player. As a Marsoc player, in one of these top-tier teams, running out of time is a cardinal sin.
Yeah.
You just can't let it happen.
And I think what's very interesting about the way that this game has gone is that Beginners' only win has been when Marsoc didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very specific thing. Since that point, Mob Squad have done a very good job of getting the KOs, locking down their opponents.
Yeah.
And maybe the Beginners are aware of that they let's not say they got lucky, beginners luck and all, but
no, you didn't.
But it was definitely a case that they've got to find another way, Yeah,
Mob Squad showing that you don't underestimate them. As always, Beginners are an amazing team, and Mob Squad have got the front foot. And it's been real close, though. Let's not count beginners out yet. Beginners are on the defense. That gives them a slight advantage on this map. They've got something to prove.
Yeah. Beginners here taking the role of Volk once again for this 5th round. Let's see if they can bring it back, potentially. But Mob Squad, you can hear them, hear the team comms there. They're just kind of like mounting their early strategy together. I think that's one of the most, I mean, we've obviously talked about it loads and loads, but you know, that's one of the most intriguing things about this is this kind of proximity comms is so important, and I kind of like love hearing, you know, those little moments of communication between teams.
But that team chatter, I just love the team chatter that happens. Listen, they can just like talking, you know, spotting, where are you, what are you doing? But this objective here, you see this objective next to this building?
Yeah.
It's the southeast corner objective, and it is possibly the hardest one to defend. I feel for beginners because this is a really hard objective. In fact, look at the lineup. None of them are near their objective, because to stand near that objective is really hard. There's no good defense near it. So look how none of them are near it.
Yeah. It's kind of this weird, like, almost diagonal line, this forward slash from the central house down to the very bottom of the map here. So they know, you know, generally where the opponent's going to be going to or where they need to get to. So they're cutting off this line across the map below it, just to kind of keep all avenues, or as many avenues covered as possible.
Spot that flank, stop it if they can.
Yeah.
But also they've got the objective covered, even though there's no one stood on top of it. If any, you know, nobody can get to it without being seen.
Yeah, Peasley here, as you can see, the white arrow on the map on the bottom there, looking to the left-hand side, covering the back side of the line, just holding on to that flank and being very patient with that as well.
Beginners, that's the middle name, Patience.
Is it really?
Yeah, Beginners Patience game. I don't know what the last name is. No one figured it out yet.
Fair enough. Duly noted.
So the Mob Squad. Mob Squad playing a lot like beginners now. They're waiting for beginners to make a mistake. They're moving up slowly. But you can see one Mob Squad member is on top of the objective, well, very near the objective right now.
And beginners jumped inside that house as well. There, Smoils, I believe, or just outside the front door. Just going to go. He's going to come and knock in very, very shortly. We have seen one of the members of Mob Squad throwing out a grenade. No one getting caught by it though.
Look at this lineup though. Again, beginners are very imaginative plays. They try out new things that nobody else would try, like we saw on that defense where all of them are upstairs. And you can look at it now. Like we've only got one guy near the objective, and then okay, well they've swapped it up now. They're being a bit more adaptable.
This is intriguing because we were looking at one of our members of Mob Squad just moving forward and could see, maybe see.
Killing it down, I assume.
Wow, Mob Squad getting 2 KOs and 3 KOs.
It's 5-2 now, only 2 defenders left.
It's looking like it's going to go 4-1 to Mob Squad for this first match.
They're getting a cap. They're getting a cap. We're going to see the first cap of the day, I'm pretty sure. Mob Squad, they've got it. They've got the uplink.
That's 5-1 technically, but that is a clean first game from Mob Squad.
Wow.
Taking it over beginners in emphatic fashion in the first map.
If someone had said what do you reckon the scores would have been, I would have been 4-3, definitely. I would not have told you 5-1. Mob Squad schooling beginners. Beginners' imaginative defense falling apart there.
Arsenic there just tapping his teammate on the shoulder. Very, very impressed and, you know, proud of their teammates just for pulling together there. You know, they made that early error and gave away, you know, map 1 to beginners with that, you know, with that slower play, but being a lot more, no, I wouldn't say fortunate, but being a lot more surgical with the way in which they kind of like throw out their tactics, and then, God, words are just escaping me today, but
hard.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to randomly. It's going to come to my head later on.
You're just going to blurt it out.
I'm just going to shout it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see the physical exertion.
Cashing in, I guess, on their strats.
Yep. You're looking on the floor here. They're saying, you know, good game, everyone. But look at the physical exertion they're going through. All of them are sweating. You know, they're not. These 2 guys, these 3 guys, 4 guys, fit guys. You know, they're not. They don't look overweight or you know, and the sweating, because this is the physical exertion that's involved here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes its toll, and you got to remember they've got 2 more maps potentially to go through.
For sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw it back to Matt and the crew at the analyst desk to take us through that first map. Matt, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Radar. Enjoying a look at some sweaty men. It's playing some good game.
My pastime.
Is that your thing?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to your first weekend ever. Yeah. Pansy and Nightfire with me enjoying the first map, which goes very, very comprehensively to the Mob.
Yeah, keep in mind, beginners, the only round that they won was in theory when Mob Squad ran out of time.
Yeah, this was not what I was expecting out of these guys. I was anticipating a much closer 4-3 sort of matchup.
This was almost a 1v4. This was when the time ran out and they lost in the end, but this was almost a 1v4 situation that he pulled off. It was down to the 1v1 in the end, took down 3 players to get to this position. You can see how dominant these guys were.
A lot of that comes in with the communication too. Smoils was covering a point there where he could easily get that pick, but he assumed he had killed everyone over on that side and moved out of position. And this play here in the center area, all sorts of grenades coming out. I mean, I love the center objective because you get plays like this.
The pistol play, pushing up the stairs, nothing else left.
Yeah.
So Smoils their ammo issue for him.
Yeah, it's something to kind of note is that you don't have any ammo counter. Unless you're actually counting the rounds you're shooting, you have no idea how many rounds you have left. And so we actually see another instance where another member runs out of ammo in the back corner there for Volk on beginners, and it almost cost him the round. Syncos managing to finally get the reload and then come back and get that pick. But yeah, ammo is a very big concern.
You have to count your shots. You have to know what you've got as best as you can. You can take a half-used magazine out of the gun and keep it for later. It's not just thrown away, and it's not one of those magic reloads like you get in pretty much every other shooter I can think of, where when you reload, we'll just fill the magazine you've got, but you can keep all the rest of the bullets for later. In this one, you actually have to swap the mags, and you might have to pick up a half magazine.
You're doing the animations.
Yeah. No, I was thoroughly impressed with the individuals as well, coming out from obviously the winning side. Semper looking great, and the aggression they had, it felt like the perfect complement. Not only do they play a very good game so far from what I've seen, but the individuals can really perform when required. We saw individuals be able to create room, create opportunities, almost clutch out 1v4s. I mean, these guys look like the full package for now. I don't know if that's going to transition into map 2, but in map 1, they look incredibly dominant. Don't get me wrong, beginners, they were creative.
Yes,
I think that was one thing we can't take away from them. They tried new things, but sometimes going back to the basics and just doing the basics really well, playing that really good brand of gaming and just kind of nailing that down can be enough to get you games.
An interesting thing is that Mob Squad actually picked that map. So,
and I was asking you earlier on, why didn't they put their safe bet in there? Clearly, they're not scared of beginners.
Yeah, coming out with a cap there, too, at the very end. It doesn't ultimately matter too much, I don't believe, the points coming into factor.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
It's a statement. It's a little statement,
Yeah,
right?
it is, absolutely. It definitely something you can ride into the next map, absolutely.
Cargo is where we're going to be going next. We'll bring that to you shortly after this break, so don't disappear. Mob Squad 1 up, beginners with a lot to do, but Cargo is where they might turn it around.
Box. Stairs.
Nothing great ever happened without a witness.
Oh, you guys saw that?
With the power to capture comes the need to share.
Check this.
Followed by the eyeballs and loudmouths chomping at the bit.
That was nuts.
The fate of the game rests in your hands.
Check this out. No. Oh my God.
Leave nothing to chance. Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
In zero gravity, players fly faster. Passes go farther. Strikes hit harder. Stakes get higher. And victory tastes sweeter. This is Zero G in the Echo Arena.
When you commit to a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes